Greetings, we're back in the Hall of Origins to look at another Mario character who is truly out of this world. I don't apologize for puns. Princess Rosalina, a mysterious character that showed up in the 2007 critical success Super Mario Galaxy. Not only is she the protector of the Lumas, but is also the guardian of the cosmos. Kind of takes things to the next level, doesn't it? You know, since all the Mario characters are down to earth, so to speak, and she is hanging out in space, but let's take a look at this galactic traveling princess, Rosalina. Rosalina was created by video game designer and director Yoshiaki Koizumi. When she was first created, her overall look was quite different. She had a beehive-type hairdo and long bangs, and her face had more of a Princess Peach look to it. In fact, you could say that Peach's design was in the dress as well, looking more closer to the type of dress she would wear, along with her lengthy gloves. This is probably due to early on there being a concept idea of Rosalina being related to Peach in some way. However, this idea was dropped as the story was developed. But some of the Peach-like look was carried over to her final design, which also brought with it more of an evening-style dress, and one of Rosalina's signature features, a large lock of hair drooping over her right eye. Rosalina possesses a range of super abilities. She can create force fields around herself and other objects. She not only has the power to float, but also fly around at will. She can create holograms of herself and project them to different locations. She has a form of telepathy, because at the end of Mario Galaxy she is able to talk to the rest of the cast while she is still in space. She also has in her possession a magic wand which enhances her power, like when she has to create larger force fields to surround bigger objects. It's kind of unclear how much power she can do herself and how much she needs the wand for. It seems that at least her ability to fly and float is something that she can just naturally do, but her more powerful spells she needs the wand for. So, while the majority of the Mario characters' names stay the same in different languages, in the video games, depending on where you live, Rosalina has a variety of names that she is referred to by. Such as, in Japan, she's called Rosetta, which is fitting because keeping with the space theme, Rosetta is a type of orbit. In French, her name is Harmony. In Italy, she's called Rosalinda. And in European Spanish-speaking countries, she's named Estella, which is cool because the name means the tail of a comet, or is similar to the name Stella, meaning star. So in Mario Galaxy, Mario has been invited to the castle by Princess Peach to join in on the Star Festival. But upon approaching, well, just take a guess what you think is going to happen. If you guess Bowser comes in and kidnaps her, then congratulations, you've played at least one Mario game in the past 40 years. And yes, I realize that not every game is Peach captured, but I'm just playing this up for jokes. Anyways, Bowser uses this big UFO, because why not, and lifts Peach's castle off the ground and into space. However, before Mario can save her, he is blasted by Kamek off into the cosmos. He awakes on a tiny planet where we meet Rosalina for the very first time. After a few minutes of gameplay to get used to the controls, Rosalina gives you a huge bit of exposition about how her home, the Comet Observatory, works, and she needs Mario to collect more stars so she can power it to travel to where Bowser and Peach are. That basically sets up the plot of the game for you. You also get to meet all the Lumas hanging around, little star creatures that Rosalina cares for. As the game goes on and Mario collects more and more power stars, Rosalina will appear in the library part of the Comet Observatory and read to a bunch of Lumas a chapter of her backstory. Throughout the story, we learn that when Rosalina was young, she encountered a Luma next to an old spaceship. He explains that he is waiting for his mother, and Rosalina decides to wait with him. The two then decide to fix the spaceship and fly around the cosmos searching for Luna's mother themselves. However, they are unable to locate her. After more continuous searching and still unable to find Luma's mother, Rosalina decides to adopt Luma herself and promises to take care of him from now on. Along their journey, Rosalina takes in other Lumas and adopts them all as well. After a while, she starts to miss her home. One of the Lumas transforms into a comet that would signal the way back to her home planet. Even though Rosalina decides to stay in space to take care of the Lumas, she plans on visiting her home planet once every 100 years. Can I just stop for a moment and say that when Mario Galaxy first came out, this part of the game that explained Rosalina's backstory was what I looked forward to the most. Whenever I got another star, I went back to the observatory and was like, is there a new chapter yet? Is there a new chapter yet? I know that sounds odd in a game where the levels take center stage, but hey, I was invested in the story, and I wanted to hear what happened next. Don't at me, bro. And I don't think I need to explain the rest of the game. Mario gets enough stars, and Rosalina pilots the Comet Observatory to the center of the galaxy for the final showdown with Bowser. And he wins, because of course he does. So after Mario Galaxy was a ginormous success, Rosalina popped up again in Mario Kart Wii, marking for the very first time that she was a playable character. And I think it's adorable that she has a Luma floating around her throughout the entire race. But here's something I was surprised to find out. Did you know that the reason Rosalina is as tall as she is because of Mario Kart? Now I can hear you saying, KyleUniverse, that doesn't make any sense. She first appeared in Mario Galaxy, which came out before Mario Kart Wii. And yes, you're absolutely right. But apparently, while Galaxy was in production, Mario Kart producer Hideki Kono asked if Rosalina could be made larger so she could be classified as a heavyweight character in Mario Kart, mostly because the majority of the Mario cast were all the same size. So they did, and now Rosalina stands at a gigantic 7 feet and 3 inches, or 221 centimeters. That means that she is currently 2 inches taller than Shaq. Dang! However, whenever she is needed for a sports game or Mario Party, like Bowser, she is scaled down to match the other characters. You know what? Where are the mods of Resident Evil Village? With Rosalina's towering size, couldn't you see her modded into the place of Lady Dimitrescu? This seems like a missed opportunity that's begging to happen. So it wasn't long before Mario Galaxy got a sequel, but this time Rosalina didn't play a main role, but instead shows up at the end of the game. However, another form of her is introduced called the Cosmic Spirit. Now, technically this isn't Rosalina, but just resembles her. Basically, she will appear when you lose too many lives. She will then give you the choice of her taking control of you and doing a segment of the level for you. Pretty much the game is telling you that you are failing at this badly, and decides to take control because it can't stand it anymore. So around this time, Rosalina was establishing herself as a mainstay in the Mario series. She appeared as an unlockable character in Mario 3D World, she popped up in Mario Party 10, and she joined the rest of the cast in the sports games. One aspect that I always thought was really neat was for the majority of her on-screen appearances, she usually appears floating in the air. It's just a feature that's unique to this character alone, and it's just really cool to see. Here's an interesting fun fact. Did you know originally in the planning stages, Rosalina was meant to be a resident of New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey? Yeah, according to a piece of concept art shown in the Art of Mario Odyssey book, Rosalina was going to be one of the musicians Mario was tasked to recruit by Pauline for her big performance. This would have been awesome had it been included. In this concept art, Rosalina is depicted a little differently than she normally is. She doesn't have her crown for one thing, and instead of her long blue dress, she is wearing more contemporary clothes. However, had Rosalina been put into the game, she probably wouldn't have been dressed like this, and here's why. If you look at the citizens of New Donk City, all of them are dressed in business attire, and even all the musicians are shown in matching red, so more than likely she would have been put into a similar red suit as well. But still, wish they would have kept this idea in the game. So even though she's mostly known for Mario Galaxy, there was another game where Rosalina played a prominent role. She would appear as a main story element in Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, where she defends the Rabbids and Lumas from the game's villain, Cursa. Unfortunately, Rosalina is absorbed into Cursa and is held captive throughout the majority of the game, but manages to break free to help the Mario cast and the Rabbids for the final confrontation. So let's talk a little bit about Rosalina's voice. Her original voice was provided by Mercedes Rose, who voiced her in Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, as well as Mario Kart Wii. Carrie Kane voiced her in a wide variety of the sports games, as well as in Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. And Laura Faye Smith is Rosalina's current voice, starting in 2013 with Super Mario 3D World, to her most recent game, the Switch 2 version of Super Mario Wonder, which is the first time Rosalina is playable in a side-scrolling Mario game. And also, she can become an elephant!
Wowie zowie!
Wowie zowie indeed. If we jump over to illustration for a moment, Rosalina appeared in the Super Mario manga starting in volume 37, where she is shown to have a funnier and less mature side. One of the things she does is hire Mario and Toad to collect power stars in different galaxies. Along with that, she also asks Mario and Luigi to do lots of favors for her, to which after they finish said favors, she tells Mario that he's a good butler. Dang, Mario, you don't have to put up with that! So when the Super Mario Bros. Movie was released, it was a massive success, and of course everyone was curious about what a sequel might bring. I think a lot of people were surprised when Rosalina was announced to be a part of it. I mean, this might have been just me, but I thought they would have saved a space adventure for at least the third movie. You know, like maybe have a Yoshi, Bowser Jr., or Daisy adventure, and then space would have been the next step. But with that being said, yay, movie Rosalina! In this new adventure, Rosalina is voiced by actress Brie Larson, and the soothing voice that she brings to the character, while different from previous performances, really works in my opinion.
Once upon a time, there was a brave and noble princess named Peach.
I want to hear the story about the plumbers.
We did that one last night.
Alright, so after Mario Galaxy was a huge success, I'm glad that they decided to keep Rosalina around with the main cast. Heck, when I first saw her, I thought she was going to be a one-and-done character, just showing up for one adventure and that was it. And I was happy to be wrong. Rosalina has become an extremely popular character in the Mario community. Fans have created their own custom amiibos, made amazing cosplays inspired by her design. I mean, seriously, some of these people go above and beyond with this. And there's even this awesome mod where she is put into Breath of the Wild and even has the ability to summon Lumas to do damage to enemies. It is insanely cool. But yeah, Rosalina is loved by the fans, and hopefully soon she'll get another game where she has a starring role.